Well, so our objective is to be able to read and interpret a stem and leaf diagram. So before we get into what a stem and leaf diagram is, I just want to make one thing clear. Okay, this is a statistical diagram. Okay, so one thing about statistics, you need to draw conclusions. You need to be able to make statements about things, okay, from data that is collected. And if you're not able to make conclusions about the data and about the things that the data is collected on, there is no point in collecting the data in the first place, right? So you've got to be thinking, while you're learning how to do these diagrams and things, you've got to be thinking, well, what do they mean? Why am I doing it? What things can I say about the data? So if it's data about how many people are in a car, for instance, knowing the mean or the median or the mode is one thing, but knowing what that means and what conclusions you can make is more important. Okay? Because by working out a mean, a mode, a median or whatever, it doesn't really matter unless it's got a reason. It's got a conclusion to go with it. Right? So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be looking at a stem and leaf diagram, deciding what it is we can actually tell from the diagram, right? Because that's actually the important bit. So in our book, right, if you look at page 149, so page 149. Okay. So there's a couple of things we've got to be able to do. One is just read and interpret the stem and leaf diagram, and then in another lesson we've got to learn how to actually create them and get them right. So first of all, how we use them. Second, how we create them and then use them. So if we just have a look at the example. So again, we've got to think about what is the context that it's in. So we've got a teacher asks 25 pupils. Now it's important that we have that. So 25 pupils, how many pieces of homework they were given in 1 week. The results are shown in a stem and leaf diagram. So let's write out that stem and leaf diagram. So you're going to copy that out. Now there's one thing that you have to do. I'm going to do it as well, but you're going to. The numbers are in columns and they have to stay in columns. Alright, you have to line them up. Alright. Okay, so this is a stem and leaf diagram. This is the one from the example. Now it's very important that we understand how to read this. Right? So with statistical diagrams and statistics, this is each one of these numbers represents a person that was asked about how many homeworks they got in the week. Alright? So we've got to be able to read this. Now there's a key up here, look. 1 line 2 means 12. Okay. Now it's important. Stem and leaf diagram will always have a key to tell you. Now it's called a stem and leaf because we have here, I've got a dotted line. I don't actually like the dotted line. I'm going to change it. Make it a bit clearer, like it is in the book. So I've got a dotted line. Now this here is the stem, and these are the leaves. It's a leaf. Okay. Now each leaf is separate. The stem is used with each leaf. Right? That's why it's called a stem and leaf diagram. So, for instance, it says 1 line 2 means 12. Right? Now, this number here, right, if I highlight it here, this number is a 1. I'm just going to change that so it's a bit lighter. Right, is a 1. But it means 1 because it's 0, 1. Okay. This number also looks like a 1, but it's not a 1. What is it, Tabitha?
11.
It's an 11 because you look at that number with the stem and the one line 1 means 11.
That's kind of dumb. I don't
This number means what?
15.
15. Okay. This number means what?
21.
21.
Someone got 21 pieces of homework?
Someone got 21 pieces. What was the maximum amount of homework someone received in a week? 23. What was the least amount of homework someone received?
1.
Okay, so that's the kind of thing we can start writing down from the start. So the minimum that someone got was 1 piece of homework. All right? The maximum someone received, you said, was, so that's the minimum, 23 pieces of homework.
Mr.
Yeah?
Just a question about the stem. Is the stem like the line or the numbers behind?
The numbers
Oh,
behind the line,
okay.
that's the stem.
Okay.
The stem in this case are the tens and the leaves are the units. Okay? Now it's not always the case. Not always just tens and units. But in this case it is. Okay? So we could say minimum amount of homework was 1, the maximum number was 23. Alright? Yeah. Millie? Question? Okay. Right, now, do you remember what a range is with statistics? Yeah?
Is range like you put them in order?
It helps, we don't have
From
to.
one number to another.
Jonah?
The space to
And the highest number, the lowest number.
Subtract.
Good, yeah. The range is the difference between the highest and the lowest, and we've just found,
22.
so our range is, what?
22.
22, yeah. So I'm just going to write, it's 23, the max, minus the 1, which is the minimum, so is 22. So the range of our results is 22. Now, again, the question is, why do I worry about the range? Well, it's nice to know the range because the range tells you how spread out your data is, the difference between the lowest and the highest. So what quite often we would want to know, is it a big spread, is it a small spread? Now, with homework, you would hope to have quite a small range, wouldn't you? You'd hope that everyone had roughly the same amount of homework. But we've got a range of 22 pieces of homework. Now, I would be looking at this if I was analysing the data and just saying, that's not very good. You know, we're doing something wrong. And in our school, what do we do to try and make sure you have the right amount of homework? Your homework timetable. So someone will have done this and gone, oh, someone has 1 and some. That's unfair. We need to make sure probably that the 23 gets less and the 1 gets more. All right? So that's why we would look at the range. Now, there are a couple of other things to look at. Right? The mode. Now, the mode is a type of...
Well, I know what it means.
Okay, but what is it a type of first?
Probably.
It's one of the 3...
Ratio.
averages. The mode is a type of average. There are 3 averages. What are they? Mean, median, and mode. Mean, median. Yeah, Miss Titus as well. Right. So we've got averages. One of the averages is the mode. Now, Sophie, the mode is what?
The most.
The
and
one
then
that
the
occurs.
number that occurs the most often.
Okay. Now you've got to be very careful here. Which number appears the most? Careful. Sophie.
Well, it's a it's a tie between 2 and 1.
2 and 1, you think?
2, 3, 4,
How many 1s are there?
5, 6. There's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, sorry, it's 2.
There's 2, 1.
It's 2.
How many 1s are there?
2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
How many 1s are there, Jamie?
2. 6 in the whole thing. 2.
Why, Tabitha?
Because the rest of them are 11 and
Oh, but how do you know
21.
that?
Well, good. It's
I
1.
said 1.
Wait, what?
The answer's 2. That's why I said
Oh,
why.
I said 2.
Yeah, that's why I said why, Jamie, because you were
Oh,
right.
no, you said, are you sure?
No, I said y.
I wasn't paying attention. I
Right.
was looking. I was just.
Millie, go on.
But
What's your
how do
question?
you know if it's like 11?
Because look, it's 0 and 1. 0 tens, 1 unit, a 1. 1 10,
Basically like a unit
1
line.
unit, 11. It's like, do you know
Decimal.
abacus? Do you know what an abacus is? So if you move the number 1 on the second row, it means 110, and if you put a unit, it means 11. Yeah? So that 1 is not a 1, it's an 11.
And the one next to it is also.
So that is also an 11, a 12, a 14, a 14, a 15. This 1 is not a 1, it's a 21. So how many 1s are there? 2. How many 2s are there? 4. There are
One,
4
three,
2s.
Yeah, because they're in the 0 column.
They're in the 0
so it doesn't
column.
have the zeros before.
Exactly, yeah. There are 4 2s. Now, we look in the 2, there are 4 2s. Are there any others that have that? We might say 1, you said 1, no, that's not a 1, it's an 11. So there's no other row where there's 4 in a row, so we know that the 2 appears the most often. Okay, so the mode is the 2. Okay. Now, the median is another form of average.
You add all of them together.
No,
No,
that
you-
was, that's
you-
mean. That's the
you-
mean.
You put them in order.
Okay, there's good. Put them in order, which we've already got.
One in the middle.
So, and it's the 1 in the middle.
And
Now,
you keep crossing out till you come to 1 in the middle.
Okay,
and
now,
you subtract.
that's one way of doing it. So we'll do it that way, I guess. Let me just rub these out to help. Right, what I'm going to do is this. When you want to go to the 1 in the middle, obviously, you've got to start at one end and the other end and go until you get to the middle. That's one way to do it, isn't it? So let's do that, all right, to start with. So I cross out the 1 because that's the smallest number. I've got to cross out the biggest number. Which is the next one I cross out? To cross out the other end of the line.
9.
No.
And the 0.
I don't get.
That's the smallest number. Which is the biggest number?
23.
23. So I've got to cross that one out. Now that's either end of the line.
Oh.
So this one I cross out. The next one to cross out is
21.
the 21.
And it's 16.
Then it's the 2, 16, 2, 15.
Do we actually cross
Okay.
it out now?
Well, it's up to you. You do it in pencil.
Oh, I've got
Gently.
it on pen.
That's all right. Doesn't matter. As long as we find the middle. Now, you might have a different way of finding the middle. That's all right. So I'm going to keep going in pairs until I get to, well, very nice. 1 number left over. So that's the middle number. So the median is the middle number. So this number is the median.
No.
Okay. So the median is 9. Okay. So we've got 2 averages, 2 different averages, quite a long way apart. Now, bless you. In the future, you'll have to wonder why do we have a different average? Why are they different, and why do we use one and not the other? We won't worry about it too much at the moment. We'll learn how, and then we'll worry about why do we have different ones. Okay. So what we've got here, we've got the range. So you remember, okay, the range, 23 minus 1. So that was the maximum minus the lowest. Okay. You had the what should I do? The mode, and that was the one that appeared the most often. Okay. And then you had the median. Okay. Now the median was the one in the middle when you crossed them all out. Okay. So you've got your 3 things that you have to be able to do. Alright. Make sense? Easy enough?